Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. I'm really glad you're here, and I am just so thankful that you press play. I hope you like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and feel free to ask questions. I'll do my best to answer, or I'll try to find somebody who can answer it for me. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch and share stitching with me and to interact and all of that good stuff. So thank you, I appreciate it. Alrighty, so let's just jump right in. No preambles. I have got 9 projects that I worked on. I started a couple things, one big one, and I got 2 finishes as well as a scrapbook finish and a non-scrapbook finish. So there is a lot going on this week, and let's just jump right into it. So this very first one is my first finish, just stitching finish, and this was Seasons Blessings 2. And I'm going to cover up the spring. So you get both spring and summer in this one. This is from Lila's studio, and I worked on the summer piece. Now I decided this was not in the plans for June. I decided, if you're new, to stitch on this and participate for the very first time in Cross Stitch Camp. Cross Stitch Camp is a brainchild. It was of Colorado cross stitcher. If you go back to, I keep saying this, and I think it's video 39, which was a few videos ago, she explains how it works, the themes for June, July, and August, and all of that good stuff. And you can get some more information about it. I don't know how many years it's been going now, and I know there's like a winter camp and some other things that happen, maybe something, I don't know if there's one in September, but I've seen people do it, and I just decided on a whim this year to give it a try. And the theme for June was birds. Now I've had this pair of patterns for a while, and so I said this is a perfect time to give it a go, and I got it finished. I did kind of give it some extra loving this week because I have a lot of projects juggling, which I like. I love doing it that way, but having a deadline for a finish, I mean, and it's not like you absolutely had to, like something bad was going to happen if you didn't finish it, but it was just a goal, right? So, but having that deadline kind of gave me this, angst is not the right word, but it was just kind of made me cognizant of when the end of the month was coming. Today is June 23rd, so we're almost there already. And so I kind of wanted to get it done and not have to be worrying about the last week of the month, kind of pushing. Plus, this one, and I'm sure spring will be the same, was a nice, easy stitch in the sense of the chart's big, it's easy to read, it flows, there's changes of colors, but blocks of color. It's so nice. So again, mine looks different. That's what the original, I used all the same floss colors, but I changed the fabric. You know, I had to go with the blue. I really thought that yellow would pop on a blue, and I knew that the other colors would look nice as well. So what is this? This is an 18 count Icelandic blue, and it's from To Dye For Fabrics. I want to say that this was a recent new color from her. She's constantly revamping and trying to figure out what works best for her and for us as customers to get our fabrics as fast as possible. There is a sale going on right now to the end of the month of all her ready to ships. I shopped last Friday. They might be coming today because ready to ship, they are ready to ship, and she does generally get them out immediately. But you can see here, if I hold them up next to each other, it just goes to show you a little bit, depending on the fabrics you choose, how a pattern can look a little bit different. Same exact, I did use the DMCs, so I will say that, but I could have stitched on something like this, and they would look a little bit different just because of the fabric. I love it. You know that I am a huge fan of blues, and I can't decide what I'm doing with this one yet. This one might get a non-scrapbook finish. Maybe I'll hang it because I have the hooks underneath my shelves. And so this might become a hanger. I do have a Hirschner's tree. And the more and more I think about it, originally I was going to have it for different things all throughout the year. But now that I have the hooks underneath my shelves, and each shelf, 1, 2, 3, has 7 hooks, and I have 2 shelves. So I have 14 hooks available to me. I think what I'm going to do is I'll leave the Hirschner's tree definitely for Christmas because I have plenty of Christmas ornaments, and maybe for Halloween, especially if I finish up those Halloween calendar pieces. And I think for the rest of the year, I am just going to use the hooks and still have stuff hanging because it looks really cute. And when I have more, I will show you. I'm leaning towards that for this one. I haven't decided 100%. I certainly could scrapbook it if I wanted to. So we'll see. So that was hashtag Cross Stitch Camp 2023. So I will now post the finished piece with that hashtag and another hashtag, and then I can show that I finished. And I love, unfortunately, Instagram has kind of changed their algorithm for hashtags, because what I really liked to do was you could do it by, you know, most, I'm going to say most popular. That's not the word they use, but that's basically what it is. Or you could do recent, like the newest ones listed. And so I always like to do that, because otherwise you're just getting repeats, right? Because the most popular ones are always going to show up. So unfortunately, they got rid of that recent. So you don't get to see as many as before. And, you know, even though I follow the hashtag, it doesn't necessarily mean everything pops up for me in my feed, because we're not going to talk about the Instagram feed at all. You know, it's a little bit disappointing that they've switched it up. I really liked how that worked. And I do feel bad for small businesses who did rely on that, especially using hashtags for promotions and things like that. So maybe they'll change it back. Maybe. All right, so next I decided to pull out Midnight Watch, and this is from Blackbird Designs. Sarah from Sarah's Stitches and I decided to stitch this one together, and Sarah and I are both taking stuff out. So neither one of us are stitching the border, neither one of us are stitching the alphabet. So if you look at this area, I have since, as I'm stitching it and doing it, I have decided some other things I'm going to take out. If you see the stars over here, they're really not necessary. When I look at finishing that part and the moon, they're just going to kind of stick out. I mean, they were good fillers for when you had a border, but without the border, they don't really add much. So those are coming out as well. I was never always sure about them. I think that's why I never stitched them, because, you know, they'd be good, easy stitches. And I did decide, because I'm not doing the stars, I'm not doing the leaf on this pumpkin. What I did was I extended the stem a little bit farther so that it comes right to the edge of the house. So it clearly looks like a pumpkin stem. And then I'm just leaving it like that. Okay. Sarah and I do have a hashtag for this. It's probably hashtag BBD Midnight Watch SAL. I will double check that, and it will be linked down below in the description box. So everything, if you're new, that I talk about is in the description box. So if you want to find out fabrics or flosses or hashtags or anything like that, just click down below and you will be able to see everything. If I've forgotten something, please reach out. Sometimes I just, some of it I can just cut and paste. Some of it I have to type originally, and I just forget sometimes. All right, here we go. Now again, radically different look to this one, because I wanted this, my favorite part of this entire pattern is this right here, the cat and the moon. So I really wanted to highlight that out of everything. And I thought this fabric was, boom, just really popped, and it really showed off that part of it. This is 18 count Bewitched from To Die For Fabrics. Now, because I had this dark color versus the original light neutral, I did have to change the color of all of the greenery here, the stem. It's listed below. I don't have it on my notes here. Sometimes if it's a new change, I put it on my notes to tell you, but this one's been around for a while. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I have it right here. Instead of 7:30, I went with 5:23. But again, that will be listed down below. So you can see here, this is where those stars should have been or would have been. I think they would just be extraneous, to be honest with you. So they're gone. Except for the windows, window frames, I did all of the other parts of the house. Now, the windows themselves, the called for number, floss number, doesn't really make sense, I think. So I was gonna work on that and fill in some of that. Instead, I went and I did this color of the pumpkins. There's another color because it's a nice checkerboard, but I did that here and then I started over here. I'm gonna reevaluate. I might try to do a very pale yellow, as in, you know, there'd be lights on in the windows, and that would kind of play off here. This is a DMC. What Blackbird did was, instead of they have it charted in an over-dyed floss, but they gave me 2 DMC numbers, and I used a strand of each for that. And so that's the blend right there. All of the other colors are the called for DMC alternatives. So I am loving this. I was able to plug away. I want to get those done. The pumpkins, I'll probably work on this, and then I just have to figure out what I want to do on the windows. So we are plugging along. That one, maybe I could get a Halloween finish on that one. Yeah, maybe. I'll give that a try. You know, I don't have, except for things like cross stitch camp, I don't give myself hard, fast deadlines. All right, next. This is the full coverage that I worked on this week, and it is called Hidden Harbor. This is a Heaven and Earth chart. It was charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Andy Russell. I kind of moved my angle the way the light was, so hopefully I can get this without too much reflection of the windows behind. Now that's what the finished version will look a long time from now, and I mostly worked my way in this upper right corner. So that's really, where you're going to see any progress. So as a whole, here we go. I can't see, but all right. So that's what I've stitched so far as a whole. I didn't do anything over here. I thought about some, but in the end, I just concentrated on this side instead. I did fill in a little bit over here, but not a ton. So I'm going to fold once more. This is really the area that I concentrated in. Now, if you were here last week, you remember I had a chunk that I had messed up. I had miscounted by, I think it was a row, and I'd stitched a decent chunk, but the thought of having to readjust the entire way down the pattern and having everything slightly off, for me, pulling out the stitches that were there made much more sense, just because I felt like, for me, the way I stitch these, it worked that way. So I hemmed and I hawed, and as a result, I got more of this done first because I really wasn't feeling pulling out the stitches. And then I had gotten a decent amount of this done, and I just basically said, all right, you got to do it. You got to pull that out. So I did, and so then I added, it's great. There's navies, deep purples, deep greens, some black. It's just really lovely over there, all the different shades. This is the edge. So yes, if you're an eagle eye, you can see I messed up on this one, but it's just over 1 3/4 inches, so I'm fine. It'll work if it ever gets finished. I think that's plenty of space if I do want to get it framed. I'm not worried about it. And what's really great is this side is kind of like that selvage edge, so it's not going to fray and get smaller on me. So that's a fantastic thing too. So, you know, it's not really looking like much on this side. You can just start to see how the how the hills, and I think there's like purplish kind of trees or flower, how that's all starting to come across a little bit. Now, later on when I talk about my giveaway from Nicole from STEM X Stitch, if you haven't watched her yet, she is working on Hidden Harbor, and I am pretty sure, sometimes I don't 100% remember, but I am pretty darn sure that she is much farther than I am. So if you'd like to see it farther along, just check out Nicole's station channel, STEM X Stitch, and that will be linked down below. And I keep telling myself every week that I've got to remember to bring the pen back here so that I can write down the notes of who I've talked about. And again, I've forgotten. I'll remember. I remembered once, I think, and then I totally forgot. Okay, so I did have a scrapbook page finish, so I am just going to, I mix and match. I don't do the full finishes, starts, whips, all of that. I don't do all of, I just mix it all in because I do it all in the course of a week. So this is basically free-flowing, sort of how I may have seen these stitches. I stitch on some pieces several times a week, so you know, sometimes I'm really just going by the first day they saw some work, and so you get a little bit of everything, just all mixed in. Okay, this is my full finish, and this is my scrapbook page. So this one will go, this is an 8.5 by 11 page, so it'll go in my middle size book. I have a 12 by 12, a 9 by 12, and I'm gonna say 9 by 7 is what the book is. But it's usually about a 6 by 8 pages. This is a pattern that I cannot remember the name, but it is by, I want to say Cottage Garden Samplings, but I'm not 100% sure. If you would like me to find out, I would be happy to. I knew I wanted just to, because it's just all blues, I knew I wanted the blue, navy blue border for my Stampin' Up! Friends Night of Navy, because I'm still going through all of my Stampin' Up! Card stuff. And then I was trying to figure out if I wanted something ocean-ish behind, and I looked through what I had for pattern papers, and everything was more the bright ocean, the beach, all of those kind of things, and all of the colors of this is a little bit more subdued. And I want to say this is probably a Zweigart kind of, I don't remember what blue it is, I can look it up again too. But this is not a hand-dyed. So, you know, I wasn't 100% sure which way I wanted to go when I realized that I didn't have much in the way of ocean that would really be more the deep blues and kind of play off these shades. So I found this pattern paper, and it is great because it's one of the shades of blue, sort of similar to what's there, and it, you know, it's Swiss dots basically. And what was really cool was that mimicked really the mermaid, the bottom of the mermaid. So I've taken that element that's in here and I've replicated it here, kind of thing, and then it just finishes it off nicely. So this will now go into my scrapbook, and we have another page finished. Super excited. Every time I get a finish, I get that much closer to being able to show it to you, and I just can't wait to show you a full, well, it might be a while till it's full, but a really good, nice, we'll do like a flip through when I have really good progress on how many pages are done. All right, this is an almost finish. This will be finished by the end of the month. I'm putting that out there for myself. So today is the 23rd. So next Friday will be 30th. So next Friday is the last day of the month. So when I show this to you next week, well, I guess I could stitch it after the video, but really there's no excuses. I'm going to say I'm going to have this finished by next time I see you. And this is On the Beach from Stitchrovia. It's been a slog, this water. It's a fun stitch, but just be prepared. Be prepared for two things. Lots and lots and lots of water. Now the water is mainly just two colors and kind of a repeating design. But if you do this on paper, it's 4 pages, and so you will have some page breaks. If you do it digitally, it shouldn't be an issue for you. I did this on paper. The other thing is be prepared for lots and lots of color changes, because there's lots of little just itty bitty things here and there, as well as some big chunks of color. So I have back stitching to do. So some things are gonna look weird. I have back stitching to do, and I have one more color of water. Look at that. Do you see? I did all of the darker blue, or brighter blue, I guess. And now I just have the light blue in this whole section here. And that's it for X's. So I worked a lot on the water this week. And when just you know, as we were coming up to the video, I had gotten that brighter blue all done. And so now I just have that light blue. And I thought about working on that, but I had a lot of little stray kind of 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 3 stitch, a few of these, like she shadows a lot of these things. So I had all that, and that was probably 12, 15 different colors. And so there was a lot of color changes, and I literally, like, because I when I started stitching this, I wasn't marking off what I was stitching. So some of it was marked off, some of it still, you know, trying to find a spot that's not marked off. So I basically just really looked at every stitch in here to find all of the missing stitches. And so I spent some stitching time doing that instead. And it took a while to do. Well, I probably could have finished this, but I really wanted that part done because it was kind of hanging over me, and I could have let it sit and sit, but I wouldn't necessarily feel like it. So I'm going to stitch all that, and then I'm going to go back and do all of the back stitch, and this should be done next week. This is 18 count. Oh, did I tell you? Beach sand from To Die For Fabrics. I'm not sure, so I'll repeat it. I thought it was a great, great color to do because it really makes it look like they're on the sand. This will most likely be scrapbooked, so I'm not particularly worried about, oh, I need to get it done for summer so it can be displayed. I have an idea of what I might do. I might combine this one with some pictures. So some of my scrapbooks are just pieces, are what you just saw if you're new. And in some cases, if I can mix and match pictures, either, I haven't really done many, I haven't done any pieces yet with modern pictures like right now, but I have done some of when the kids were little, or a few years back, and things like that. So I've done a little bit of the mixing of the stitching with the pictures so that it can be really a memory kind of heirloom piece, which is what I'm looking at these scrapbooks as being. That here is in these however number of scrapbooks, because of the different sizes and whatever, here is, you know, a memory of my stitching, a memory of things that we've done in our lives, and mixing and matching all of that. So I'm really happy. And I have started, I've made a hashtag for anybody, hashtag scrapbook your stitches, or you could say scrapbook my stitches. Either one of those would work. I would love to see any pieces if you chose to go down that route. I know it's not for everybody, but I know a lot of you have said that really makes a lot of sense for all of the extra pieces. All right, here is a start, not the big start. For my regular stitching friends who are here all the time, you know I'm working on this grouping, this set of 12 this year. I'm starting them. I started November and December last year in their respective months. I don't think I did October, so that'll be the last start of these this year. And then none of them are getting finished this year. I just, and they're at different levels of how much is done. It kind of depends on how busy a month is, how much I'm into the pattern, all of that good stuff. But this one just got to start. I kind of held off on it because I love the colors in this one, but I was not really loving the bees corner here. It just wasn't doing it for me. I'm going to keep the bee here, and I'll keep the 2 bees there and the 2 bees there, but the corner just wasn't jazzing me. So I extended this design this way and this design this way. So there's 2 different designs, but what's already there. What took me forever was I counted about 27 times how much it should be on each side. Because, you know, it's not count twice, cut once. It's count 27 times, then start stitching. That's just how I am. And then what I have to be careful, because I can't necessarily start this off of here. So I haven't quite, I don't think I've finished all the way across, but I'll probably then jump here and work my way backwards. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, but I started, and that's what I have. Now this is done on 18 count ice crystals by Fabrics by Stephanie. If you were wondering what the difference between Nantucket Sky and ice crystals on 18 count, I would say Nantucket Sky has more like clouds. So it's a little bit of like white mixed in, where this is a more solid blue, but they are similar light blues. If you just don't want something that, and Nantucket Sky, at least the versions I have it, are not heavily mottled. They're just lightly mottled. But if you want none, this is the one, at least this piece that I've cut, that I really can't see. Maybe a tiny bit, but really minimal. So if I just fold for a second, you can see here, that's what I did on that corner instead of the bees. So this side is completely done. I was smart in that sense. I don't know if I got tired of doing it over here, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't look like it's far enough. So I'm going to be doing more counting. And I don't even know if I wrote down how many I need to do. I don't think I did. I have a working copy, and I counted all the sections off and everything like that and everything. So I did come down here and I wanted to do a little bit extra. This is the bottom. Now, because I did change this slightly, there's two stitches right next to each other, but really you would never know that it's not supposed to be like that, and it looks just fine. So I'm excited about that. Once I have this, I can jump up with the words too. So I can move around and stuff like that. But now the bottom will be exactly as charted and everything else. And the colors, a lot of times I have to change some of the greens in these, because I do generally not put them on that really, really light. Like you can see, this is on really light. And this is from Cottage Garden Samplings. You can see it's really light, and I went with something that's blue. I really wanted, I think the pinks are going to look lovely on this blue. But these greens showed up really nicely, so I did not have to do a switch. So sometimes it's not a guarantee that you'll have to switch when you change colors of fabric. It's kind of dependent on the floss that you're looking at and the exact fabric. And then sometimes I put stitches in before I make a decision and say, no, it doesn't work, or yeah, this works really well. So don't be afraid to kind of mix and match. And okay, sometimes you have to pull out a half a strand or something. Some stitches you know right away. Others, you put in the strand and you let it sit. And sometimes it'll work for you and sometimes it won't. All right, here's my second finish. My two finishes were small this week, but they're finishes. So this month of June, I have so far, I think 4 finishes. It's going to be kind of my month of finishes. So this is the original. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. I honestly don't necessarily change the patterns a lot of times. I do change the fabrics, but I feel like I've got a lot of switcheroos on this week's stitching. I must have been in one of those moods. Isn't this beautiful? This is Quaker Blooms by From the Heart Needleart by Wendy. If you want to try Quakers, Needleart by Wendy is a great one to try. She has monthly pieces, so I think she has for all the months. She might have holiday ones. This one right here, Quaker Blooms. And they give you a chance to do a little bit of Quaker without maybe committing to some of the giant Quakers, which you are going to see coming up. Now, yes, because I changed the fabric, the colors didn't really work. They kind of just faded in. So I changed every single one of the colors. In the description box, I will list the 5 flosses that I use. They're all DMCs. And really, they're just amped up colors, versions of the colors you see here. I didn't change the base color. I decided I didn't want the word bloom in there, so I just added a couple extra flower and kind of elements right there. Just a couple, to be honest with you. So here's my finish. This is 18 count Summer Storm from To Die For Fabrics. I know I have about 50 different shades of blues, especially light blues. But you know, I find each and every one of them work just so for different pieces. So, you know, it's not like I'm not using them. So yeah, this is where the word bloom should have been. I added that in. I think I added that. And then I just went, there's no like, this element is in yellow normally, but because there was yellow there and not a lot of the red, I popped one in there. So there you go. This will be a scrapbook piece. This will be fun. This will go in this 6x8 book. But yeah, I'm super excited to get it done. I started this probably a few months ago, and it just a lot with the changes of colors, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. And this is the first time I've ever taken a pattern and done a complete color conversion. Now it's only 5 colors. Start small is what I say, right? So it was workable, and I really just amped up the colors that she had charted. So it's not like I didn't take a jumping point from her. I think the only thing is this was more of a peachy, this pink, and I went with the pink because I really wasn't finding a punched up color that worked for that. So there we go. Finish number 2 for the week. And hopefully on the beach will be finish number 5 for the month. We'll see. That would be nice to come in on the month with another finish. And then I don't think there'll be any more than that. These next 3 pieces I'm going to show you, which are the last 3 that I've worked on this week, they will none of them be finished anytime. Well, they won't be finished this year at all, I'm pretty sure. These are definitely maybe not even 2024 finishes. So before I put away spring, I did do a bit more stitching on the spring Quaker. So you can see, obviously, the difference between the previous Quaker and this. Humongous. This is spring Quaker from Lila Studio. Again, though, I have done some massive changes. I changed out the fabric, although if I look at this, while it looks kind of a neutrally kind of peachy, I went pink. That's not that much different. Maybe mine is a little bit more noticeable. But I just decided I wanted to do a little bit something different than the browns. Most of the other colors will remain the same. Here and there, for example, this heart up here, the called for DMC, I want to say that was a DMC alternative because this is half charted DMCs, half over dyes. In the DMC alternative, it was a little bit too mauvey for what color I'm stitching on and everything like that. So I did change that, but I won't necessarily change that symbol all the way around and things like that. So I only have this corner, so I'm just going to hold it up like this. This is obviously a big piece. I haven't cut it down, but it's gonna take most of this. But here we go. This is 18 count Rose Hips by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I love it. If you go to the description box, if you like the greens and you'd like to see the greens, the 2 different shades of green that I've changed it to, just go down below in the description box and they'll be there. I decided that, this is a huge element. So I did get that finished. And then I started to work down here. Now there is I have found a mistake in the chart, and it is not listed in the correction. I don't believe it's listed in the corrections page. So if you go to Lila Studios, I want to say it's either lilastudio.net. I think there's an S, the double S's, but you know, at the end of Lila and the S for studio. If you go there and you go to news/corrections and you go to that page, she lists if there's any corrections on patterns. And there are 2 pages that she gives digital versions of this pattern to reprint. I want to say page 4 and page 9, but that is, I'm not sure if I'm just pulling those out of thin air. So I did reprint those. I hadn't gotten to them yet. So whatever mistakes were there originally, I won't have to worry about because I'm not seeing the original part of that. But I don't know if this was one. If you were to look at the chart, this little element right here, this tiny one, is stitched in a different color than what the symbol calls for on the chart. I did what the chart had said with the symbol, and I was kind of like, And then I looked at the picture, and it is different. I think, though, given that I'm using these greens and such, I think it's fine. That color then shows up, I want to say, in the flowers, and I think it looks good in that part of it, you know, like in the center and maybe some other places. But be aware, if you wanted to, if you're stitching this, I don't know, but that symbol is a completely different color than what the picture shows. But, you know, for the most part, with charts, you know, if something looks a little bit different, you can look and check, question, look at corrections, or make a change yourself if it's just not working for you. Trust your gut too. If a symbol just doesn't look right, there'll be something when I show you Summer Quaker, that there was one stray thing that just didn't look right, and it's not listed as a correction, but I know it would be if she had seen it. So, you know, just trust yourself. But that's what it looks like. And I did start, and, you know, I mean, it's not going to show up as bright, which is fine. I don't necessarily want the white border in your face popping. Now, there are two ways to stitch that. Straight X's, which is what I'm doing, or a specialty stitch. And I don't remember what the name of whatever stitch that is. I'm just doing it with the X's. And I think that'll work out just fine. I think it'll look nice. So there we go. So now Spring Quaker will probably go away for a little while, just because, you know, there's lots of other things to stitch, and I've started summer. But I got a nice little chunk of it done. This is page 1. I'd say it goes about right there, and it's right there. I'm not necessarily stitching it by page. It just happened to work out that way. So I can at least say I did get one page finished. And there we go. So that is Spring Quaker by Lila Studios with my color changes. Alrighty. Next I have a full finish. I forgot before I show you the last two pieces that I stitched on. This is, I want to say it was Hands on Design. Resting Beach Face. So there it is. Originally, and I haven't, it's really messy, so I'm only going to show you, I haven't finished the back, fully finished the back yet. Originally, I was going to have this with a hanger and hang it. And I might still, which is why I didn't put any felt on the back yet. But I also just had it leaning as a little leaner up over that way on one of my shelving units. Not my shelf, my drawer units, and I liked it. So at the moment, I'm going to keep it as a leaner. I don't know if that's what it's exactly called, but that's what it does, right? It just leans. And if I want to add, and what I could do is add that little string, right? Close it off, use it as a hanger if I want. If I want to do it as a leaner, you just bring down the ribbon, right? Because I usually just ribbons. I don't do anything fancy or whatever. So I'd just bring the ribbon down and I could use it as a leaner as well. So you could get multi-uses out of it. For now, it's just staying like that. So this is stitched on, I don't remember. I recently finished it, but if you want me, if you put a question down below, I can give you the exact, it might be the Dive In from Be Stitch Me, but I'm not 100% sure. And I wasn't sure if I was going to jump off of this kind of blue for the background, but I was going through the fabrics that I have. I don't have a ton. I don't even have a Joann's here. I'd have to go to Dover for Joann's, which would be about a 45 minute drive. One day I'm going to, because down here in Rehoboth, there's no Target, there's no Kohl's. I don't even know if Dover has a Target. They might, I'm not sure. But anyway, you know, there's not any of that kind of stuff. So one day I'm going to take a trip to Dover and do all the different craft stores and all of the different other stores and just make a day of it, and probably pick up some more fabrics. But I did have this, which is, if you look up close, and the camera probably won't pick it up, there is a very, very slight little, I don't even want to say design, but just a background element to it. But I really loved how this, I had no felt that was this color, because I originally was thinking of felt, and I was going to do some sort of die cut to play off of that little element. But when I found this fabric, I just loved how it popped off of the umbrella especially, and then her sunglasses and everything else. So I feel like it really draws out all those little elements, and I love it. So at the moment it's a leaner, but as I'm talking myself through, I might finish the back and I can hang it, because I've got Helen D's Flamingo hanging right now. And so this would be a nice bright piece next to that to hang. And then Summer Blessings, I might not put it next to those two because that's different shades, but if I hang it. But I like this idea that I can always bring down the ribbon and use it as a leaner, even in the shelves themselves. The only reason why this wouldn't go necessarily in the shelf like this is because there's a lip. So I'd almost want to lift it up on something. I got rid of all of my wood blocks for Stampin' Up, because when I bought Stampin' Up stamps that were rubber, not clear polymer, you would have to put the stamps on the rubber blocks. And I never did that. I would just put cushioning behind them and then use them on the clear stamping blocks. So I had all of these wooden blocks, and they would have been perfect, and I could have stuck stuff on them, but I got rid of that when I moved. So we'll have to see. But there we go. That's my full finish leaner, aka hanging ornament sort of thing. Alrighty. So we'll put that, you know what, I'm gonna open up a couple of my drawers, my DMC drawers here, and I'm just gonna put that right on there. All right, I have two more pieces to show you. This one I used as a car stitch, actually. I don't generally, a lot of times I use it as a zoom stitch, but I was really busy, so the only zoom I really got in, I think, was our summer Quaker zoom. So I had about a 45-minute drive that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and Mo was driving, so I was able to do some stitching. Normally this would be a little bit too big. I do like monochromatics for car stitches, but I generally don't like pieces this big. But I don't have any small monochromatics going right now, so this is the one that came with me, and it hadn't seen any work, so I decided I would do it. So let me show you the full. I have to open this slightly because the cat is just below the fold of the fabric. So there we are. There's that little cat there at the bottom. I'm still, a little bit of him's not showing. And if we do this, there we go. That's it. That's the piece right there. This is done on 18 count Rainy Day from Bestitch Me. And it's probably slightly darker in the camera, but that's pretty true. It's a little bit lighter in real life. Now, what did I work on? Really down this way. I concentrated this, I did do, not in the car, but I did start to fill in a little bit more of this. I did some of this, I've been going across with this. This woman is slightly off, miscounted, so I can't count anything off of her. So I'm just kind of following the pattern with that. I mostly concentrated on the horse. Now the horse is between two pages. And as you can see, you know, there's some counting to do with, you know, that little clear line there, or unstitched line. And I was having such trouble. I had started doing some of the stitch and I was fine. I think I worked on those on the way to, and so that was all right, and some other stuff. But on the way back home, I was working on this and I was having a lot of trouble. So what I ended up doing was, so there's, this pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, it's either 6 or 8. I'm not sure. 2, 4, 6. It might be 6 pages. And so 3 and 4 would have been where I would be with this. So I was working on my working copy. What I did was I took my original print off, my digital print off, and I made clear copies of those. I chopped off the border, you know, cut the border off, lined up the two sides and taped them together. So now I have a taped side right here because I really couldn't see. In my mind, I kept wanting to stitch and I wasn't sure, and I was sure I was going to mess that up. So I did end up getting it right, and except for a little tail. I think the horse is, yeah, actually, no, the horse is done. No, the back leg. So all the horse needs is his back leg, and that's completely finished. So that is, if you like using paper and you've got those page breaks, that is another option, is basically, you know, take a copy of each of those and just literally line them up old school. I taped the front as well as the back. So, you know, marking off is a little bit more difficult on the tape sections, but finding what I needed to stitch was invaluable. So from here on out, the second I have any trouble with, say, a piece that is on a fold of a paper pattern, I am just gonna start going back old school, cutting and taping, and it made so much of a difference, and I was able to just zip through and finish out that horse. I don't think the rest of that section is an issue, but I might do the bottom two pages because you have both the submarine and this fish, which do have different elements of stitch, non-stitch, and that I might fall into that kind of problem again. So I might do that one more time. Okay, my last one. It's last but not least. So on Wednesday was the first day of summer, and Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and I hosted a Zoom start. You could be stitching it. It didn't have to be that you started it right then and there or that day or anything. And I think there was one or two that were just stitching on other things as well. Beth and I don't go by rigid rules. We're pretty low key on that. But we have a hashtag Summer by the Shore, SAL, for Summer Quaker from Lila Studio. We have been waiting, both of us, for weeks and weeks to be able to start this. I can't believe it. It's already the first day of summer, come and gone already. And it is started. I did measure my margins and start just a couple stitches, in the corner, because I didn't trust myself on a Zoom to necessarily have everything counted 100% correctly, and I really didn't want to start off with some sort of mistake on top. So I did, that's all I did though. For the most part, I did the start during the Zoom. And here we are. There we go. This is 18 count Nantucket Sky. So I don't know if you'll be able to see, but do you see this is something I always say, in the camera, the variations of color will be slightly different, slightly more enhanced and obvious on the camera. But Nantucket Sky on 18 count has this very slight little, it almost looks like clouds, really wispy. So I had this piece and I tried to figure out, and I don't know if I'll have worked it right, but where the middle section would be, that section happened to look like it would be some clouds. I may or may not drink the wild air. Do you see those words? On either side, there's clouds that are stitched. I may or may not stitch those. I might just stitch the sun and not do those because my fabric kind of shows clouds, and I might move the sun slightly over, but I don't necessarily feel like that entire section needs to be filled up there. So we'll see. It's a long way before I get to that. So that's where I am. And I am using the called for colors on this, unless there was something that doesn't work with this blue. There might be a blue or so somewhere along the way that will fade in too much, in which case I might have to change it up a little bit. Now there is pages 1 and 2. If you go to the corrections page I talked to you about on Lila Studio's website, it's just the one S, lilastudio.net. If you Google it, it'll come up because that's how I found it. Pages 1 and 2, she has that you can print off because there was a mistake in the charting of the border of the middle section, there was a mistake in some added symbols here. Now, for example, in this element, do you see how it's all one color, which is what I'm stitching right now? This is not shown. The correction for this is not shown, but at the very bottom, there's one symbol that's a different color. Clearly a mistake, but that's something that you obviously can follow your, trust your gut on that. You know that there's not going to be one stray color change or stitch there, and you, as the entire piece is of that little element, monochromatic. So there's things like that. I want to say, if I look at it, there's a few other pieces here or there that might be mistakes that they haven't caught, but just trust yourself. And of course, you can always ask if you need to. But there we go. So this one, if I'm pulling out one of the Quakers, this is the one I'm going to pull out now instead of spring. I don't know. I mean, spring and summer have been released by Lila Studio. Maybe there'll be a fall and a winter. It'd be fun if there are. I'm not exactly sure what I would do with 4 stitched versions of this. But, and if you didn't want to stitch the whole thing, look at the center. Isn't that gorgeous? Originally with spring, I thought about just buying it and just stitching the center. But when I saw people stitching all the other elements in the Quakers, I kind of fell in love with the whole thing. But you can certainly make things smaller by doing just the centerpieces. They're beautiful. They are stitches on their own. But yeah, super excited about that stitch. And that will be the one that I will focus on for Quaker moving forward. Plans, we're reaching the end of the month. I started all of the, let me see. Yeah, all the things that I had planned to start in June, I have started. I have thought about starting my dual temperature charts for my birth year and Mo's birth year. I just have to sit down on the weather website and start writing down all the temperatures. I do want to stitch them at the same time. I'm not sure if I stitch one, if I'm going to feel like doing the other one. So I figure if I just do month by month and repeat the stitches, if that would just be the easiest thing. So that may or may not get a start this week. I'm not sure. It depends on how busy and whether or not I actually sit down and check the temps. I do have 2 choices of fabric for that. I do want them stitched on the same exact fabric because I really want to highlight the 2 different years and the temperatures. So that'll get started at some point this summer, just maybe not this coming week. And then this was completely unplanned, but I fell in love with the new Barbara Anna. So if I'm looking at the calendar, let me just look at the calendar. I haven't decided on an exact date. Let's see, July 1st is what? Is a Saturday. Why is it? That's funny. Oh, there we go. The sun was shining into my iPad and I couldn't see it. Maybe a July 1st start for my Barbara Anna. I am inviting each and every one of you to stitch a Barbara Anna with me. And what's funny is the hashtag is Stitch Barbara Anna. Super easy. It can be something you've already started. It can be any Barbara Anna pattern. It can be, if you go through Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, if you have those, there's a Barbara Anna in, I think, every single issue. So you have lots of choices there, especially if you want a small. Maybe you can mix and match with July's cross stitch camp. I don't know. But I plan on, I think, if I can figure out, I probably should figure out fabric colors to see if I can start it. But I'm going to hesitantly say a July 1st start for hashtag Stitch Barbara Anna. And maybe, I have to look and see what's going on that weekend. I'll ask Mo what if we have any plans. Maybe I'll try to do a Zoom. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I will look and see. And if I do, I will let you know. But that's it for plans. And then I have, each month I have different things I would have liked to start in the month. So far I have, except for one, so I'm through 6 months of the year and only one piece that was a potential planned start never got started. So I think that's pretty good. I don't really know how many I even planned on starting. And of course I've had starts besides that. So I don't follow that well. So we'll see what else happens with plans. You know, I mean, anything can happen in the meantime, and I might go off on a little tangent and start something else. Alrighty, shopping. So I have just a couple things to show you for shopping. One is the fabric of the month from Grace Notes Fabric. I get it quick because I think she ships from Maryland and I'm in Delaware. So I actually get this one really, really quick. If you do not want to see this would be this month. What are we? June fabric of the month. I am in the colors, not neutrals, from Grace Notes Fabrics, and I am 18 count Aida. It's called Serenade, which is not going to give it away. Please look away now, and we'll see if in this light I can show you. As usual, more subtle, but there is modeling, and that color-wise, probably pretty close. Super pretty. I really liked it when I opened it. Don't know what I'm stitching on it. Okay, you can look back now. It will get wrapped on its board and be put in the proper section, and we'll see. All right, the other thing, my road trip that I talked about, I have it in the bag still because I want to show you. I went to Salty Yarns. Yay! Yes, I did. So that's the Salty Yarns bag. Now, it's not on 8th and Boardwalk anymore in Ocean City, Maryland. So don't go by, I'm sure they're just using up their bags. Don't go by what the bag says. So Salty Yarns, I guess, I didn't realize this. I was told that a few months ago, I'm not exactly sure exactly when, they did move off of the boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland, and they are now in Berlin, Maryland, which is a little bit more inland type of thing. Much easier for me to get to because I don't have to go down. I mean, Ocean City is basically Route 1, right? You just go all the way down, but it's summer, it's tourist season. Good luck, right? This, I was able to go inland Delaware, pick up one road and just go all the way down right into Maryland. Super easy. Traffic was mostly okay. There's some construction going on in one area that I'd have to go down. But other than that, for the most part, it wasn't too bad. So I'm super excited about being able to go there and check things out. Yeah, so let me show you what I got. So these are just in plastics, which I'm just going to keep in there. But in the fabric section, they have little remnants of different things that they have cut, you know, because they custom cut to order to a specific size. If you want it 100% specifically, you're going to see, I just cut a couple of fat quarters. I didn't go by a specific, because I had nothing that I wanted to specifically stitch, but they will. But so I was looking through, and we have linen. That's probably either a Lugana or, nope, that's a linen. This one might be a linen as well. And this one is going to be an Aida. And it's going to be, so, but they're all, ironically, they're all kind of different shades of minties and blues. So at some point, you are going to see different giveaways with those. I always look for you all too, my friends. And then for myself, I picked up, well, oops, tape on there. You know, if there's a blue, and I love this blue. This is from Bestitch Me. It's Winter Mix, 18 count. So I did pick up a fat quarter of that. Love that. That will get used. Most definitely. And then the other one was Bestitch Me as well. They had, so 18 count in the few I always want to say scrapbook stores. In the few needlework stores I go to, 18 count is one of the least represented, you know. So many of the other counts have a lot more. But they had Bestitch Me, and they had Fiber on a Whim. I obviously had a bunch of different Zweigart colors. And I don't know if they had any picture of this plus. So they had a few hand dyers. And so this, I just picked up a fat quarter of Vanilla Latte from Bestitch Me. What's nice is it's definitely not creamish. It's more of a yellowy base, yellowish peachy base. I thought was really pretty. So I picked that up as well. So those two will just get put on their boards like all of my other fabrics, and now I have them. And then for charts, I didn't go crazy. I didn't really go absolutely crazy. I just have 3 to show you. So this first one I had not seen before. I thought this was really pretty. It's from Jeanette Douglas Designs, and it's called Good Tidings. It says 2022, so that clearly came out last year. Now, I don't have plans for, this is all, it's the same pattern, just 3 different finishes. I don't have any plans for Christmas in July, but this is kind of cute. Maybe if I feel like I want that would actually look really good on the vanilla latte. If I want to throw in a Christmas stitch, maybe I'll do this one because this is nice and small. I have some really big Christmas stitches, several of them. So another big Christmas stitch I think is not in the cards. And I don't know the size, but like, look at this flower. Wouldn't that be cute as a single stitch, either as a trading card or a little ornament? The tree, the same thing. You could really break apart this and do maybe a couple different things. And it'd be really, really pretty. So there's lots of different ways to do that. So that's Jeanette Douglas. I've got several of these digitally, but I saw USA Tier from Erin Elizabeth. So I did pick that up. I had been kind of hemming and hawing on that when I bought the summer tier and the British tier. And I saw it in person and, you know, it was a sign, right? Pick it up. So I did pick that up. I don't know if I would start that this year or not. And then the other one, I had not heard of this. I don't really know this designer very well. I shouldn't say I've not heard. Maybe I have, but it never really sunk in my brain. They are actually a Delaware designer in Ocean View, Delaware. Who knew? But they had this on the wall, and they had another one that was not in the store yet, that was just coming to the store soon. And I loved it. And I figured I have to get it. Now this is a regular picture, so it's going to show up as a picture. There are 2 versions, but you know I'm going to do the monochromatic. This is called Quaker Blue Whale, and it is from Samplers Revisited. Isn't it so cool? So you know that's the one I'm going to do. I think Winter Mix might be a little bit too dark. But that would definitely be a monochromatic piece that I would love to do, and probably a little bit lighter than the Winter Mix that I bought. Love it, love it. And the one that was not there, it's a crab. And it was stitched. It was shown as an example on the wall, and it was gorgeous. So you know, if you want to see, that's the other version that's listed as an option. And they talk about a third option that's not shown. Not Pictures is a third model stitched with navy on Picture This plus Ancient, which is a sandy color with touches of blue. So there's lots of different ways and lots of different things that they give suggestions to, but clearly, obviously, you can mix and match and do your own. So you know I'm probably going to get the other one as well at some point. But this is not tiny, but it's not huge. Well, it's 220 by 120, so I don't know if this will get started this summer or not. But if I'm looking for another monochromatic, that's a possibility. So that's it. That's all I bought. I feel like that was pretty good. I restrained myself. I want to say a huge thank you to Kathy, who showed me around the store and helped me, of course, showed out that whale to me, and showed me around and kind of gave me ideas of where everything was and if I had any questions. I didn't take a single picture. I was just kind of taking in the experience of being there versus thinking about it. We drove away and I said to Mo, I didn't take one picture. He's like, do you want to go back? I'm like, no, because we were going to go to lunch. So I said, no, I'm just going to have taken it in as just something I did without worrying about kind of making any pictures. But there's yarn there as well, Salty Yarns, but I'm not a knitter. But it was fantastic. This wonderfully big open store with lots of different spinners everywhere, all sorts of designers, all sorts of things, and super, super helpful. Kathy, thank you so much for showing me everything and chatting with me and everything else. I really, really appreciate it. And also thank you, Liz, for coming and saying hello. I really enjoyed meeting you. I'm just trusting my memory now because, you know, you never know. but they're both also in Delaware. And so it's just nice to meet other Delaware stitchers and people as well. Because sometimes I don't know if I don't know anybody here generally that stitches. So it's really nice to meet some more. And to meet in person is really kind of cool. So thank you for saying hello to me. I appreciated that. Yeah, so that was my shopping. So I'll talk about life later on. But yeah, so that's that. Alrighty, giveaways. So I do have to remind, this was Maura Jones. Oops, there's a scrap there. I don't need that. Maura Jones, you won the 14 count Neptune fabric from Bestitch Me. So if you could please get back to me one more week. If I don't hear back by next video, then I will pull another winner on that one. But I would love to send this to you. All right, so that's old business. And then, oh, I knew I didn't do something. This week's giveaway, let's go to Etsy. And if I go to my purchases, because I purchased this pattern myself as well. Here we go. This is Save the Bees from Stem X Stitch, Nicole. It's her very first design, and you can stitch it kind of in this colorway. And then she does offer this colorway. There we go. This colorway, or encourages you to make it your own. I have done, I did the Tudor bee on a green, which looked fantastic. So I could see having a green background on this as well. I got one for myself, but then I also wanted to share one with all of you. So I asked you to say the word honey, and then whoever's name I pick, I will need your email address, and I will send that to Nicole, and she will send you the chart. So let's see here. Let's mix it around. We had lots and lots of people who were interested, which is so fantastic to see. I can't wait to see what else that Nicole designs. This one was super cute and a really fun design. All right, so, and if you follow the shop, you just heart the shop and follow. If she puts something else out there, you will see it. It'll pop up for you. All right, so my winner is, who's my winner? My winner is, you know what? Oh, I don't want to put it on something that's, I don't want to show you the fabric that I told you I did, if you didn't want to see. Jill Romaine. Jill, am I saying your name right? Jill Romaine? I'm probably not saying it right, but congratulations. If you could get back to me with your email address, I will send that out to Nicole, and she will send you the chart. Alrighty. Now, next giveaway. This is still in the plastic, but I just showed you my version of this. I don't see myself stitching it again, so I am going to pass the stash, and this is from Hands on Design, Resting Beach Face. So if you would like a chance to win this one, please just say the word sand anywhere in your comment, and I will put your name in the blue bowl. And I would love to see, if you stitch it, I would love to see what fabric you choose, how you finish, all that good stuff. It's super cute finished this way. Look at the cute little pin on top. Of course, it's a flamingo, right? For Hands on Design. Yeah, just say the word sand. I don't always remember to say the giveaway rules. Please don't say giveaway. Please don't say free. Please be at least 18. I do 2 weeks for giveaways. Once I've called your name, I just ask to hear from you within 2 weeks. Otherwise I will choose somebody else. And I would love it if you'd be a subscriber. I am not going to require you to be public, and you don't have to be. It's all in your honor. Alrighty, so that's the giveaway. And that is all the stitching stuff. So if that's all you're here for, have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. All right, so life stuff. It was a busy weekend, really busy weekend. It's funny because Saturday kind of turned into like Father's Day. Megan was not able to come down, so she just talked to Mo on Father's Day, and Connor had to work. He works retail while he's in college, so of course he has the potential to be working on the weekends, and he was. So we knew he wasn't going to be around on Sunday, and then I don't remember where he was on Saturday. So, but Mo and I decided to kind of have it was like this, it was kind of like nothing was planned, and we just kind of went to each and every place without any plan in mind. It was really kind of a really nice day. We haven't done something like that in a long time. We started off at the beach. It was a little chillier. I don't know if I have them. Oh, you know, the picture's probably on my phone. Mo has got the sweatshirt on, the hood up, and everything else. It's funny because it was beautiful when the sun was out, but then the sun would go behind the cloud and the wind would go and it would be cold and you'd go back and forth. But it was nice. We stayed there. There was people on the beach, but, you know, because it was probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock. So you could see everybody who was getting ready to be there for the week, for the day. You know, it's a weekend day, and, you know, people kind of scope out their spot, get their umbrellas down and all that. We had brought a couple chairs, sat for about an hour, just really enjoyed it. Then we went to, on Saturday mornings, there's a farmer's market up in Lewis. And so we went to that, and that was really fun. We caught the tail end of it. So a lot of the different vegetable people were kind of already sold out of things, but we just kind of walked around. We did pick up a Thai basil plant because we were going to try to, we love having basil and Thai basil. I'm trying to do better and keep them alive. So, you know, we had this little tiny basil plant that we had used for pesto, or no, we had used it for something. And the leftovers we were keeping, you know, to see if we can grow it. So when Mo saw the Thai basil, which is a little bit different, he's like, oh, let's try that too. So we've got a little herb section going in our porch. And then we went to, can't remember why. Oh, we said, oh, well, let's just go look and see the herbs if they have them. And it's a fun place to go to. There is a nursery. I don't remember what town it is in, but there's a nursery, you know, maybe 20 minutes away. Huge place. Huge, huge, huge. There's everything. And so we went there and we picked up some cilantro. So we have cilantro, Thai basil, and regular basil now that we're attempting. And we'll see if we attempt anything else from that. See if we can keep these alive and going first. But that was a lot of fun. I like walking around there. We wanted to repot the small basil that we had, so I was looking for pots and things like that. And I was going to repot the Thai basil. So we went and we were just looking for things. I didn't find any potting things there. Ironically, we ended up, I want to say Sunday, finding something at Lowe's. But so that was a lot of fun. And then we went out to, it's probably not far from us, 15, 20 minutes tops. There's a brewery, and we've gone to them in Dewey, but their main brewery is not in Dewey, which is a beach town, but it's more inland. So we went there and we sat outside. It was beautiful in the afternoon, and they have right next to them. So you have the section where you can get different beers and things and other distilled items or whatever. But then right next door is a takeout kind of pizza, which they also own. You don't sit and eat in there. You can take out the pizza. And they have vegan options. So we were able to get something because we hadn't done any lunch. So we got something. We sat down with that and the beer. And it was just a really lovely afternoon. We were in the shade and it was beautiful. And we just had a nice time. So it was a really nice day. I got almost no stitching on Saturday. But Saturday night I did. After I said to him, all right, I'm done. I've seen you all day. I've spent all day with you. Get away from me now. I want to do some stitching. So we kind of, he goes and watched whatever he watched or whatever, and I did my stitching. So that was kind of like Father's Day. We kind of did a whole bunch of different things. On Father's Day itself, he went and volunteered with the dogs, which gave me some stitching time, which was nice. He hadn't gone and visited the dogs in a while, so he did that. He goes to an animal shelter, and he basically, his job is to walk the dogs. He goes and he walks a bunch of dogs and gives them a chance to get out and about and do their thing. And then, yeah, you know, maybe the grocery, I think we went to the grocery store. We went to Lowe's. We found the pots. So we found some stuff actually. So the herbs look really nice. We found this little kind of container that the 3 different pots are sitting on, which is really kind of nice. So, right now in the summer and part of the fall, they'll be out in our 3+ season-ish porch, and then they'll come in the winter if I can keep them alive that long. So it was just nice. It was a low-key day, not a lot of things happening. But you know, we had been busy and done a bunch of stuff the day before. And then Mo actually had Monday off from work. So that was, I said, oh, do we have any plans? He's like, no. I said, how about a trip to Salty Yarns? And he said, sure, why not? And actually Connor came with us on that one because he was not slated to work that day. So he took a drive with us, and Connor likes thrift stores. And there was one that was closed in the same plaza as Salty Yarns, but then there was another one across the street. So they dropped me off and let me shop a bit and kind of walk around the store. And, you know, they went there, and then they went into the little town area of Berlin and kind of scoped things out because there was a restaurant there that does sell, has different vegan options. So he kind of, Mo figured out where it was, and then we went, and it was a little bit busy because it was a holiday. So, but food was good, and we had a good time, and it was a nice day. And in town, in little, you know, then we kind of, where we were parked, did we change? No, we changed where we parked because we were in the restaurant parking. I didn't want to walk around in that, but they did have just free parking in another area, and they had some little ice cream shop and a cute little area. So we just did it was muggy, so we didn't do a lot of walking because it was muggy. But that was our Monday, which was kind of nice. Again, most of what the stitching I got done was in the car for car stitching because, again, I'm busy that day. So then the rest of the week has been kind of quiet. And Monday, and I think this is also part of why Connor came with us. So Monday morning, I said to Mo, it's really warm in here. Maybe we should put down the temperature a little bit because we have just a central air unit. And he said, sure. But he goes over there and the thermostat's blank. Blank, blank, blank. He goes and he checks the breakers. He goes and he checks, I don't know, a few other places. And our thermostat is not one that's battery powered. It's kind of hardwired. So there was not like he could just change a battery, none of that stuff. So we had to call, we have a company that, you know, checks everything twice a year or whatever, heating, cooling. So we called, and they couldn't come on Monday, but they were coming on Tuesday. So it was already muggy in the house. So I think that was another reason Connor came. I said, you're more than welcome to come with us. You know, it'll be a little bit cooler than sitting in the house all day. So he did. That night was very muggy, very, very muggy. I am not one that sleeps well with the least little bit of like heat and humidity, especially. I've never mind now that once I turned 50, I don't sleep a lot anyway, but never in my life have I been able to sleep well if it's humid. So I was cranky on Tuesday. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit of a cranky pants, but the guy came out on Tuesday afternoon, super nice guy, really knew his stuff. Turned out the thermostat, even though it was less than 3 years old, he's like, it's dead. It just, luck of the draw. I mean, sometimes he says, sometimes they last 10 years, sometimes they don't. And we just got a dud. So he replaced that, did all that, and we had air conditioning again. Thank goodness. And really, it was the humidity. As soon as he was able to get it working, within half an hour, even though the temperature hadn't really come down, it had taken the humidity out of the air, and it was so much nicer. So I wasn't as cranky the rest of the week because I was not sleeping and all that. It's been really kind of, I don't know if the rest of you, I know along the East Coast, many of you have probably, I'm on the East Coast of the U.S., many of you are also getting all the rain. We actually saw the sun for a little bit, but it poured at about 6 o'clock this morning, 5:30 this morning. I heard it. And I don't think the sun's going to be out. It's going to be back and forth. We might get storms again this afternoon, but we are in this like day after day after day of clouds and rain and sun. Yesterday was pretty steady with the rain, and it was cold, uncomfortable kind of weather. I think the humidity is going to go up now, but and the temperatures, but it's just kind of gloomy. The first day of summer was not very summer-like. So, but you know, you deal and you do. No idea what's going on this weekend. I have to figure that out. We kind of, if you can't tell, we fly by the seat of our pants a lot, schedule-wise, unless there's something specific scheduled. Otherwise, who knows? So that's that. We'll see what happens coming forward. I did want to say that I know some people asked about what I might or might not be doing with Zooms. I, schedule-wise right now, am not sure that I can have a specific set day, like for example, every week. Like Beth from Crafts and Books, if you go and join her group every Monday and every Friday, she has a set Zoom date. My schedule is kind of, because sometimes I'll plan on going to Beth's and then next thing I know, I don't know what happened to the night. So I don't have a specific day or time. Sometimes it might be more during the day that I may do some stuff, just because that works in the schedule while Mo is working. So I think what I'm going to do with Zooms, if you're on my Facebook group, I will definitely always kind of post it there. I know not everybody is on Facebook group and is on Facebook, and I absolutely understand. If you would like, and when I did my Zoom weekend, when we did our Stitchy Zoom weekend, some people emailed me and asked me about like the links and things like that, or there weren't links that time, but you know, the information. If you would like to be on like a Zoom, I'll say mailing list for want of a better word, and you're not on Facebook, if you just reach out to me on either Instagram or Gmail and just say, you know what, if you're going to have a Zoom at any given time, can I be on a list so that you can just send me out an email information, and if I can make it, great. And I'm hoping to be able to just provide links. I'm learning Zoom, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to get on in the future. But so if you would like that, just reach out. Like I said, Instagram, Gmail, and I will keep a list with emails of people that would like to know that are not on Facebook. And if I may also use the community tab at times as well on YouTube. I myself don't necessarily look at that, so I miss when other people post on the community tab, but maybe that's something that you follow a bit more. So 3 different ways that you might be notified of Zooms. I want to look at the schedule. Maybe next week there might be a pop-up one during the day, maybe early afternoon, my time. So just keep a watch, keep an eye out. If you can make it, great. If you can't, I'm hoping to do more, and at some point, hopefully we can all kind of connect on that. But I did want to mention that, just that I think for now, that would be the best way, that I don't necessarily am able to have specific dates. I might do something for the Barbara Anna, so keep an eye out for that. And that weekend, I don't know what our plans are. Next weekend is a holiday weekend, but we'll see. We'll see what I can do, and there might be something. So that's it. That was the other thing I did want to talk about. I know I waited to the very end, so if you're here, whew, thank you for staying this long. I hope you got lots of stitching done, and I appreciate it. And if maybe I'll put something in the community tab, so if somebody didn't make it to the end, I can make sure I get your info too, because I do not want you to have to join something. Different types of social media are not for everybody, and I respect that. So I do want to open up as much as possible to people in every fashion and form, so that you're within your comfort level. And I am not, you know, saying this is the only way you'll get some certain information. I want to include everybody. All right, so that's about it. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope things are, can you believe it's the end of June? We've hit the first day of summer. It's just, I don't know what's happening. These months just keep going faster and faster and faster, I feel like. So whatever is going on with you, I'm wishing you all the best. Take some time for yourself, whether it's stitching or something else you enjoy. You are important, so I want you to make sure you take care of yourself. And until next time, happy stitching.